Alex Ansary here on July 3rd, 2015, one day before the so-called Independence Day. How timely to have this discussion. And I've still been going through this adjustment of being in Colorado and frankly being grateful that I'm not in a big city anymore. So for me, it's been about taking baby steps. You know, I can think in my mind, well, this is the goal. I'm going to go immediately from Portland to off the grid. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it's more important for us to invest, in a stable place to rest and kind of think about our future plans. Well, I've been thinking about that. More specifically, the places that might be the best for me to invest in when it comes to land off the grid in the San Luis Valley. Now, there's been some changes to Colorado that some of you may already be aware of, some of you may not already be aware of. But Colorado is incrementally coming out of an extended drought. The cycle of drought that Colorado has been in, some forecasters are saying that it's on its way out. And with that will come more vegetation. With that will come a higher water level in the Rio Grande River, which I have personally seen men with mental challenges and emotional disturbances. In other words, if they can do it, so can us. So can we. So can I. So can you. I've seen these people use water in this area where there's hardly anybody living, so it's not like, they're going to get caught, for their personal gardens. And, it's not just about growing marijuana. It's about growing quinoa. When you have a lot of land and with just a little bit more water, it's making the situation far more favorable to grow certain crops, especially when you harvest your rainwater. I know some of you have been told that it's illegal. The truth of the matter is people are doing it anyways, and there is not some massive enforcement system currently in place, I kid you not, to go and spy on every single American 24/7 to see whether or not they have a 55-gallon food-safe blue water barrel, of which I am looking at buying very soon, at a great price of, get ready for it, after I go up, drive to the parking lot where the distributor comes every 2 weeks, down in Colorado Springs, $25. That's with the screw-on tops, so you can get the auxiliary, accessory, non-electric hand pump to pump out your water. With a little pickup truck, get one of those for $500 every time going into town with your two $25 barrels of water. Even in a drought situation, you've got water for a garden and personal use. And so, I'm paying attention to these things. As I mentioned before, the cheap cost of land in the area where you can go get water within a few miles, even if you don't have water there, there's a reason why the land is cheap. And there's a reason why there's not a whole lot of people out there. And it's also a jumping off point as some of you are preparing, you want to be prepared for the full-on invasion, the full-on collapse, even a full-on alien invasion from the sky. Oh my God, we've got to get in the ground. From a full-on, all the way, super max, just shit hit the fan on steroids. Regardless of your concerns about the military and NORAD in Colorado, Colorado has a lot of beautiful, very magical, awesome survival options and possibilities. From caves in certain small towns where, the townspeople know where these caves are. Now, mind you, you have things like bears and mountain lions. Hey, in a crisis situation where you've got panicking human beings, yeah, you're going to have issues with mountain lions and bears, but some of them are just going to take off. Like, oh my God, listen to all those screaming humans headed our way. No, it's good to be familiar with some of these places in America before the collapse. Lightly populated areas that are, I'll tell people about certain areas, and people are like, well, what? Who wants to be there? Like these people are clueless, and I will just allow them to be clueless. That's the point, McFly. That's the point, McFly. There's nobody out there in some of these areas. Not because the land's contaminated, because there's no water. And a lot of people are slaves to the New World Order and this system by demanding that we have this system where they bring us and pipe us our water. And I'll tell you what, that's the key to the government's success in keeping people in the grid and enslaved, and I would even add, endangered. I think people are endangering themselves, staying in parts of America simply because they bring the water to them, Because that's really what this is up. This is a big pyramid. Civilization is all the major cities. It's one big pyramid of the government bringing the water to them. And I tell you, man, it's been really annoying all these years trying to tell certain people that act like they're survivalists and they're ready to hit the grid. Hey, check out this spot. Oh, no, there's no water from the tap. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're serious. This is a serious dialogue. As a man, you're telling me because there's just not enough water there, you're not going to even think about it being a potential spot. I'm trying to be nice, not trying to be mean to any of you guys, trying to blow off a little steam in a conscious way and tell you I've been frustrated with that type of attitude because I find it to be limited in its thinking and scope. Let me explain. When you harvest water, when there is rain, when you're in an area going through natural climate change, whatever is driving it, we're now getting more rain. And I've been suspecting for years that parts of Colorado would be getting more rain. So you only need so much water to survive. And I think that it's that type of reality that people have been living in, getting every day, having a 15-minute shower. And I've said before, even though some people might be offended, a lot of the women, a lot of the wives, a lot of the girlfriends, they're not going to go follow the male prepper out into the wild to, if there's not running water to keep them squeaky clean every second of every day. It's always the water thing. So I'm sorry if this is offensive, but it's like some weird voluntary socialist communist reality where people are okay with living under control in these control structure grids, dense population centers, simply because they bring the water and you could scrub and dub and have a little rubber ducky in your bathtub. It's weird, and I'm the dude outside the box saying I'm seeing a slavery connection here with water. With the government bringing people water, and everybody's sitting there just touching themselves in their bathtubs, rubber ducky, 3 men, 3 women in a tub, one big giant orgy of New World Order love. Throw a Big Mac in every now and then, and a corn syrup soda, maybe a sex robot. Ooh, wait, you don't want that in the bathtub. That would be bad. Don't want the sex robot in the bathtub. I have called out people's dependency on the grid, and it is what it is. People got to be water independent. I'm sharing some ideas with you. People want to go ahead and go, that's not legal. You can't take water from the river. You can't take water from the air. Come and stop me. You go ahead and be scared about those reports. Oh, there's a drone for every man, woman, and child. They're going to tell the aliens you're harvesting the water. Oh, my God, don't even try. Don't even try to be free. Oh, no, you've lost. Don't even fucking try. You see? You see the psyops. Do you see the psyops? They own the news. They own the media. 24/7, they want to tell you living off the grid is wrong. You can't harvest your own water. Just obey our commands. Where's the honor in that? Oh, the government said I can't harvest water. Okay, better not harvest water. I better just live on Facebook and post some more news. It's like, oh my God, what is happening here with my peers? So I wanted to cover some other stuff, but the point is, I felt a hunch that Colorado would get more water. Colorado is getting more water. It's also seen some more tornadoes. It's also seen some more sinkholes to the north. I can recall having some dreams about sinkholes and the climate change, becoming tropical, black panthers and other animals coming out of the earth. I know, out there stuff. But it wasn't a scary dream, like, oh my God, it's getting tropical, there's animals flying around. It was like birds chirping. It was like, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it was New Age. I want to say like we were ascending or anything, but I woke up one day and it was a tropical, beautiful Colorado stuff growing all around me. And honestly, I'm looking at the West Coast, these stories about the drought, yet all these humans are like just feeding off of these major cities, thinking like that's the only place to live. Sadly, under mind control. It's painful for me to watch them under the spell. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts to see them oh, there's nowhere else to live. We can't. The drones will get us. I read this article. It has 11,000 likes. This guy was arrested in Oregon for harvesting rainwater. Everybody's citing the same friggin' story. They don't have example 1, example 2, example 3, example 4. You got the same exact story for the whole you can't harvest your own rainwater thing. Dude in Colorado, dude in Oregon. But you also have an organic backlash within the state of Colorado. They can bring people together. No, you're not going to tell us we can't live off the land and absorb the natural, what are you going to say, we can't breathe yet? Or we can't pay a breathing, if we don't pay a breathing tax, then we shouldn't be breathing the air? Just because these articles come out doesn't mean that you shouldn't move to those areas and be a part of a peaceful intellectual counter change. 2 years ago, the city here was saying, nope, we're going to ban medical dispensaries. It goes against our belief system. Oh, now that they and other towns have figured out they can rip people off that are desperate for oh, now they're all about it. Oh, now they're all about it. Oh, now they're all about it. Oh, now Grand Junction, Colorado's all about, oh, you figured out you can rip people off at $20 a gram, pushing people further down into poverty that don't have a medical card? Oh, good on you. And don't tell me that money's going to the schools when we know half the time it's going up their nose. Or going into some other place as they pretend to be our saviors. Oh, we care about the children. Oh, we're going to put it in the schools. No, you're going to do something else with it at the titty club. That's what you're going to do. So there's lots of reasons and more to go off the grid and escape the mentality of you can't do it. I remember articles being circulated years ago that it is illegal to have your own garden. And people were like, oh my God, it's illegal to have your own garden. Did you know this? Oh my God, post, share, like. Post, share, like. What do you like? You like that S&M bondage around your neck that you're actually engaged in psychologically as a psyops, archonic control, takes a control of your mind and your willpower and says, no, you can't. You're a little bitchy. Here's another object from the store that you were able to buy that you didn't have to go out and get yourself. Here, have another shower. Here, watch some more TV. And here's Facebook so you can cry about what you really don't like and have an outlet for it. But no, don't actually grow your own food. Don't harvest the water. Don't be engaged in healthy relationships with men and women. Moral sexual relationships where you demand morality from now on out in your relationships as you seek higher consciousness. No. Stay here in the gutter. Stay here focused on just your own gain, your own lust, your next boyfriend, your next girlfriend, your next steak dinner, the next movie you're going to see. The next New Age conference that you go to where they tell you that you're a little pretty goddess. Teapot, short and stout. We are the ones we've been waiting for. One big circle, kumbaya. I'm not really sure what there is to celebrate. But certainly there are a number of people that are celebrating at this time, or at least there certainly was in the run-up to the year 2012 as they claim the global shift in consciousness. Not sure where those folks are. I suspect some of them are suffering from a deep, dark depression. If there is anyone suffering from a deep, dark depression that is sad that the conscious shift in consciousness didn't arrive, Alex Ansary is here to remind you that you are the shift in consciousness, and the shift is becoming more independent. It's becoming more free. And you can live in freedom. You don't have to work if you don't want to, but you're going to have to sacrifice a little cookies and securities of the system, and your programming may have to change. You may have been programmed by your parents or by your workplace. Your ego may be preventing you from realizing how you've been programmed to be a slave to the state, and that's okay. Let's not get personal. I won't get personal. But I highly suggest that some of you have been adversely affected by some form of programming that tells you day in and day out, you cannot do it. You will be punished. Bad things could happen. What will other people think about you? Oh, there's not enough water. Oh, there's not enough water. Oh, there's not enough water. Lack, fear, doubt, worry. Sending out a constant signal of not being fully empowered and being able to actually manifest that water in front of you. Not to sound like I'm going down the wrong track, but let's just say that our thoughts do have power. And if you tell yourself you can't, or others can't, you're not dabbling in the highest energy. Looking at what I've done with very little and what I've been doing the last couple months and making these jumps, I'm now taking my mind to the top and going, I will be successful. I will be off-grid next year. I will not be paying rent. This is a stepping stone to a bigger thing. I will have my own water. I will have my own quinoa garden. I'm going to have my own micro business where certain things, certain goods, survival goods, I'll buy and sell on eBay. From crossbows to I'm going to be selling quinoa. Haven't announced this yet. In next week, I just got 17 bags of quinoa coming. Each one is organic. Each one from Bolivia, 25 pounds. I found a price that I could not, I was given an offer I couldn't refuse, so to speak. I saw those numbers and I'm like, is that a glitch? No, that's not a glitch. I'll have 17, please. And I'll still be able to sell 25 pounds of organic quinoa at a pretty good deal. Let me know if you're interested. Maybe I can ship you a bag. But the point is, I am taking the time now to actually build upon the future. And a lot of the future is in being self-sufficient, independent, being off the grid. That's where the peace is. I don't feel that there's enough examples on YouTube of people in the freedom reporting movement, conspiracy research community doing such things, but you do have quality off-the-grid instructional videos now on how to build your own home and how to have an earthship and gardens. There isn't as much crossover to alternative media, though. If anybody is aware of anybody, I'll certainly check out their channel if you're familiar with people that cover an array of things. But I feel there is a place for alternative media reporting in an off-the-grid environment or an off-the-grid studio because it sets an example that you can be aware of things and have access to technology that can, internet and the solar panels that can bring you the power to use that computer and have an opinion about something and report on something and not actually be there in epicenter of the danger zone. And I'm not here to bash any of the wonderful alternative media speakers and lecturers and documentary filmmakers that live in the biggest cities in America, most at risk. I think that there needs to be like a calmer, stepping outside of the danger zone perspective on what is going on, and that's the role that I want to fulfill. I want to live a life off the grid where I am all the time producing information and content on a daily, regular basis. And nothing stops me and gets in my way. I may go out and travel, but my life day in and day out revolves around creating content and delivering it to you. And not being in an environment that is distracting me from my purpose. And every time I think about Portland, I think about an environment that was distracting me from my purpose. As you saw me spend more time on Portland, the microcosm, than spending my time on the macrocosm. But I did go back to a Portland for a reason, and it was going down into a toilet, and it was taking a microscope to the toilet fecal matter and going, ooh, I never noticed that before. Ooh, looking at it from another angle, I never realized the hearts were that blackened in Portland. Wow, I had no idea I would come back and have like people just look at me like I had two heads on. Simply because I was not getting back in the rat race. I was willing to live in my car for a year. That alienated me because then I was another crazy homeless person. Woo! And if I stunk, I'm sure it had something to do with the fact that I didn't have a place to go shower. You see, so I dealt with all that and survived it where other men have killed themselves. And I want to tell other men that are going to be coming homeless or on the road soon, there is a way you can evade the hammer coming down. And the hammer is coming down, but you've got to get serious, my brothers and sisters, about getting off your fucking ass and doing something in the next couple of years, because some of you have been fucking off this whole time, acting like this is just going to keep going for the next 10 years, and you and your family will be fine, that you'll be smart enough to get out while you can, and in some cases you might be right, and in some cases I think people are just not even trying at this point because of that programming that somehow you're going to be punished, rated, raped, blown up, or cut up into a million little pieces if you go off grid. And I'm telling you, I feel an obligation to document that I basically started with nothing, and I'm working on building a small income with something, with an eBay account, buying and selling quinoa, by making good use of the support money that has come in the past, not blowing it or acting like a rock star and traveling around and buying beers and this and that. I've lived an incredibly disciplined life over the course of the last year and several years, especially the last few months. And so now things are going forward on an uphill trajectory. And so That's why I'm bringing the focus back to off the grid at this time. As we go through this shift, as we approach September 2015, as Jade Helm 15 is the #1 topic on the internet, okay, there's being aware of that, then there's realizing a lot of this is them responding to civil unrest in dense population centers. It is not necessarily the ultimate nightmare scenario that's been delivered to you, and that's everybody being assigned, all the troops of all the world, to every off-the-grid home in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of guns out there, and those are the people that are most able to prepare themselves and see something coming literally from a mile away, because there isn't a bunch of houses obstructing the view. People are in a better situation to defend themselves in mountains, in certain prairies, in various terrains throughout the United States. The major risk is dense population centers. When you have a situation where there isn't any money available, where the ATMs are empty, where there's an event, solar flare, perhaps EMP, no power, panicking people, and the criminal elements that come in to hurt people. What are you going to be, Rambo, and protect all the women in the town? I mean, literally, we're at this point now where a lot of us that have been trying to warn our brothers and sisters have been pushed out of society, and society is showing its sociopathic, narcissistic face. And the sacred masculine and feminine has been, and probably for good reason, a lot of good people have been pushed out of cities and been made homeless in recent years. We have been given the message on our own to get out while we can. We cannot save everyone. The only thing is, YouTube allows us to send a warning, and through our own willpower, we can decide where we want to propel that warning to. We're playing with magic, and not of a darker kind, when we are literally trying to use our intuition to blast off these warnings of what we see coming to different places on the planet. And me wanting to make this documentary film and have it translated into Mandarin, Cantonese, Russian, Spanish, Farsi, and other common languages at this time that are involved in the current situation, or will be affected very shortly. The whole world should know what's coming as far as the stage managed plans for World War III. Mutual assured destruction. The blueprint for war that's building. And in reality, Putin, the leadership in China, Barack Obama, a lot of these people are working for the same team. So this is actually a global effort when it comes to, what you call alternative media, the freedom movement, to bring awareness to the fact that there is a Hegelian dialectic, to bring certain currencies and economies to a peak and then crash them, and then engineer wars that follow. A lot of people are waking up to the fact that what's happening now economically with the United States, with Greece, with other countries, and their bond evaluations are all on this pathway towards this event, but it's also on the pathway towards making China the head of the New World Order, as everything by design is designed for the Fed to fail and China and Russia to step in and go, oh, we can help you. Oh, we can help you from the horrible things the IMF has done. Oh, you poor child. But we're good. We're good. We're good. Never mind that we have a banking system model that looks a lot like the Federal Reserve, where they can loan out more than what they actually have. Oh, look at all the people in China right now. They're losing their money because their whole stock market's a giant bubble. See all this rhetoric about Putin. Oh, Putin's fighting the New World Order. Oh, by what? Sword fighting his buddies in bed, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, which are very deeply embedded with Russia on a multiple levels. When you come with, sorry for the graphic explanation there, or painting the picture in the mind's eye. These guys are literally in bed together. And there is a huge Rothschild, Rockefeller influence in Russia and China when it comes to gas pipelines and things like that, and Exxon and BP. There's a huge partnership and overlay when it comes to not only those transnational corporations, but other transnational corporations. So I would like to be a good example in the best way that I can, without broadcasting exactly where I'm at, but going through the process of talking about it here on YouTube, manifesting it with what little resources I have. This channel is not being used to beg for resources. Certainly during my low points in my life where I lived with nothing, people would come out of the woodwork to try to attack me and assault my character. It's funny how those individuals just kind of evaporate into thin air. All they can do is maybe a few down thumb marks if they can even, thumb down. But they don't have an argument, when the conversation is dealing with geopolitics or preparedness. There are people that emerge just to want to kick someone when they're down. But they themselves are not an example of someone living in freedom or someone living in prosperity or someone that is happy with themselves. Nor are these people that are exposing anything whatsoever in the world. So trolls are insignificant. And none of you should even waste your time arguing with them in the comment section or even speculating on even whether they're government people or regular people. A lot of regular people are permanently tattooed into this mindset of argue, argue, argue. That's all they do is argue and want to cut down other people's ideas and information. Steer clear of those individuals, and especially those that look down upon people living in their RV or living off-grid. A lot of these people are going to experience what it's like to be forced from their home, potentially in the next couple of years. They're creating bad things for themselves. Don't even think harmful things towards them in response. Peace, brother, peace, sister. And when I say peace, brother, peace, sister, don't even engage in the manufactured gender wars. Don't hate women. Get away, though. I did. I got away from Portland, where there's a lot of people under a certain level of programming. That was my solution. They can remain where they are. Portland's been conquered, ladies and gentlemen, by a certain energy, frequency, and attitude. Let it. Sometimes it's like that Chinese parable, good luck, bad luck. Sometimes certain things happen for a reason, to get us to wake up. Sometimes we're pushed out of certain places for a reason that ends up showing us by accident, God working through people, universe working through circumstances, to see, oh my God, look at this beautiful piece of paradise. Oh, look at this. Oh, there's nobody living over here. Oh, what's that? Oh, I only need $1,000 in building permits. Oh, I can do what's illegal in other states, including Oregon, and actually live here without having a full-on septic system. All I have to do is bring my own water. It's like I have been going through that experience of being shown the promised land of my own making. A promised land. An actual real-life potential peaceful situation off the radar at a moment in time in a region that may be coming out of a drought, having a plan for a crop that grows in that part of North America, quinoa, which is the only place it's been proven to be grown industrially outside of Peru and Bolivia. This is all a plus win-win. Meanwhile, I'm watching things get worse for people that are living in the cities. And I feel a need to talk about what is happening within the larger cities, but not being in the larger cities, right? Speaking about it, but not necessarily being inside of it. And feeling an obligation to share my information, share my knowledge, and get better at information sharing, get better at speaking, get better at presenting, get better at production as time goes on. And that's exactly what this channel is going to be. So this was my Independence Day message to you, I guess, in a roundabout way. Talking about off the grid, escaping programming, many tools that can help us in being off the grid, from stored food to buckets to having a garden and going somewhere where there's more rain as we go through this climate change. So many people move to the West Coast, but now they're experiencing more drought. Kind of funny how that works, huh? Kind of like a little God's practical joke on greedy humanity. It's just scurrying to live in the world's biggest city. And it's, oh, really? I can't have my cake and eat it too? Damn it! As these bubbles upon bubbles of Russian dolls within Russian dolls keep popping to, I don't know, maybe get people to think more about their connection to the universe. I don't know. What are they doing here on Earth? Maybe situations where they might be humbled and go, oh, boy, it doesn't feel good to be hurt, does it? No, it doesn't, little Tommy. It doesn't feel good to be bombed. Oh, no. It doesn't feel good to see your parents taken away and gang raped in some dungeon. Oh, but guess what? It's all been taking place right now, with the apathy of the American people, who have already brought the so-called end of the world, boom, 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 to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to other countries where they've been stabilizing countries, not just the United States, but the great, great evils lurking behind the Chinese and Russian governments. There's a lot of evil, dark, great conquest energy out of those lands, and in particular Russia. And the Russian military, as it currently is, all you have to do is look at their past and the Soviet Union. Look at their past. Look at the fruits of their labor. Look at what they did to the German women in 1945 in Berlin after they invaded Germany. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page you can Google if you actually really want to know. But the evils that men have been driven to, from Japanese invading China and raping and killing for 3 weeks straight, most humans don't have the stomach to realize that humans can be driven to such great evil, and that this evil is coming from a beyond a realm that they can perceive and understand, but it's at a level that controls these governments. These world governments are amassing their armies of darkness at this time, engaged in a massive propaganda war. East versus West, which flavor of darkness of BDSM do you want? I want Russia! I want China! As we hear people clamor for the death of the U.S. without realizing everything's been done to destroy the U.S. from within. As Putin's looked upon us, standing in the face of the bakers. Oh, Superman with the cape flying behind him romantically as he takes off his shirt and makes romantic love to Liz Wall and Abby Martin. I've said enough. It's time for people to really figure out that there's a theater of war that is approaching. A storm, if you will. And the United States has been made to be the enemy. And as I said for years, at least since 2006 or 7, you can look back at the tape. They're going to do to America what they've done to Africa and Afghanistan and Iraq. And this next 9/11, there may be false flags along the way, but it's when really America starts attacking millions of people at once, hitting buttons, and just destroying whole cities, and the whole world gets together and says, hey, you know what? Fuck them, and fuck all the Americans that live in that country that allowed those fuckers to hit the button. Kill and rape them all. And then it will begin. And then it will begin. I believe in the post-2020s. Yeah, I know there's a lot of false predictions out there, but I'm on record saying this since the 2008-9 period. 2012 and 11 for zoning in on the 2020s at the peak of the next solar cycle, because solar peaks and world wars go together. Well, you're saying, Alex, it's going to happen now. No, they've actually already announced in multiple reports, because everything's in plain sight, that they're not going to be ready for this until the post-2020s. For China to have all the nuclear submarines that they need, for Iran to develop the bomb, the Iran nuke deal, for North Korea to have 100 atomic weapons by 2020, courtesy of the United States government, for Russia and China to own the moon. No, 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 folks. They're not going to have World War III yet. They're going to allow the New World Order to be built above our very head as the guns put to the head, metaphorically and literally, as the EMP defenses are engineered to come down, as NORAD stands down, and kind of like a repeat of 9/11. And the occupation of America by foreign troops begins, and that's going to be the dangerous situation where people are going to be hunted, and certain girlfriends, certain wives could be targets and then trafficked into the international sex trafficking ring. This is the world you live in, and it's the world that's been happening to people every day. But now the gun is pointing towards the United States, and it's not an end-of-the-world event. This whole thing has been engineered to wake people up on a higher level. It's been allowed to happen, not to sound religious on you, but something obviously has allowed this to happen, and what I can identify is a pattern, that there already is raping and pillaging going on in other countries, and horrible things have already happened to other people, and American people have said and done nothing, to a point where there's a sickness within our own culture that some Americans want to see us attacked. This whole way that we've been divided and conquered is highly sophisticated. It's beyond what a lot of people think. Oh, it's the Rothschild. It's the Alex Jones told me so. It's the Bilderberg Group. He infiltrated their toilet. No, it's not just the Bilderberg Group. Get a hold of yourself, brother. It's a bigger system than what most human brains can even comprehend. We could see that there's clues of an organization. Just like that, we could see there's a blueprint to plants on a botanical level. We could see the six-sided shape. We could see the top of the DNA helix. We could even see Allah written in Arabic, believe it or not, in our DNA. Whatever that's about, whether that's true or not. Some people say that's actually God in another language. There are many people that believe DNA writes the language of God. But it's clear that humanity is a blueprint and that there's some weird shit in our bodies that allows us to be programmed and trapped in this matrix. So we need to think outside the body. We need to think outside the box of body consciousness. We need to think outside the box of just the microcosm of what's going on in your own little town, your own little life. Think about the bigger picture. And with all these things coming upon the horizon, we've got to think outside the box of the city. And think about off-the-grid retreats, the areas in your state, the areas in America that may be calling you at this time. And if there is a desire, for you to live in freedom, if there is a desire, is there a desire? Let's just start there. If the answer is yes, then you need to make it a reality. You need to start moving aside everything that is stopping you and actually identifying those parts of your brain and getting over yourself. Ooh, you've got it all figured out. You ain't got nothing figured out. If you're programmed to be a slave by forces you don't even understand on a subconscious level to stay in a certain energy harvesting dense population center, that's a level you have yet to identify and heal from. I'm not saying that is the case with you, sunshine. I'm saying I know that's the case with a lot of people. And ego, including within my own self, at times, is what blinds us from our own programming, our own ego, our own self-praise. So instead of beating ourselves up and praising ourselves, we got to kind of find this quiet space of reflection, meditation, clarity of thought, and see if there's any programming in there or tapes that have been implanted. Oh, whatever you believe about that, trust me, it's going on. And do a little removal, do a little healing, and start to actually create the world that we want. I'm Alex Ansary with an Indepdence message for you for the year 2015, July 3rd, 2015. Thank you for watching.